Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf is considering stepping down.
Yet Humza Yousaf is so indebted to his former mentors that he will not do the right thing and suspend them while the investigation is ongoing.
Now, I've been told that to refer to a woman as pet is misogynistic. I mean, I'm wondering, will I fall foul of Humza Yousaf's new hate crime if I walk north of the border?
Your Prime Minister, your Deputy Prime Minister and the former Prime Minister are all under investigation by the Standards Commission. So yes, while we face challenges, while we absolutely face challenges, I'd rather be standing here with the opportunity to deliver for the people of Scotland rather than languishing in the opposition like Megan Gallagher and the Scottish Tories.
Hello everyone, I greet you in the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Nathan Silas, and today we'll be checking out people's reaction to Humza resignation. Of course, party leaders, deep opposition leaders, and a lot of people all over the world, of course, are talking about this very decision that he made. So let's get down to the video and then see some of their reaction to his resignation. So without any further ado, let's get down to this video and then check this out.
Yet Humza Yousaf is so indebted to his former mentors that he will not do the right thing and suspend them while the investigation is ongoing.
And may I say to Megan Gallagher, it is brave, some may use another word for it, when it comes to talking about propriety. Your Prime Minister, your Deputy Prime Minister and the former Prime Minister are all under investigation by the Standards Commission. So yes, while we face challenges, while we absolutely face challenges, I'd rather be standing here with the opportunity to deliver for the people of Scotland rather than languishing in the opposition like Megan Gallagher and the Scottish Tories.
Scotland's First Minister Humza Yousaf is considering stepping down, and according to the Sunday Times, he's already decided that he won't survive another confidence vote, and members of the National Party were being informed of that decision over the weekend. Humza Yousaf's position has become increasingly vulnerable after he abruptly decided to end his party's power-sharing deal with the Greens, claiming that the agreement had served its purpose. Now his battle for political survival comes after making headlines around the world for all the wrong reasons. Humza Yousaf has faced fierce backlash over Scotland's new hate crime law, which fails to protect women. One woman who hasn't been afraid to challenge the First Minister over the new law is best-selling author J.K. Rowling, who's publicly been calling out the hypocrisy around this law, as well as pointing out her concerns over what they mean for free speech and who they really protect. Just a few days ago, the Harry Potter author posted on X the idea that Humza Yousaf's political fate may now lie in the hands of Ash Regan, the woman who left the SNP in disgust at its plan for gender self-ID. Reminds me, they say Karma's a bee, but I hear she's a TERF. Now, Ash Regan resigned from her position as Minister for Community Safety in 2022 and joined the Alba Party. Our party leader, Alex Salmond, is calling on the SNP to refocus on independence rather than, quote, divisive culture and identity politics. But the list goes on when it comes to those who argue that Humza Yousaf's obsession with being woke has gone too far. Columnist Susan Dagglety wrote in The Scotsman, Humza Yousaf's current predicament comes down to one thing: his refusal to listen to women. Commentator Darren Grimes has told Sky News Australia that Scotland's new hate crime law is useless, but it's designed to protect men.
I mean, I already have deep reservations about the whole panoply of hate crime legislation. I think it's a way of making vexatious complaints about those that you disagree with politically. A good example would be in my part of the world, where we refer to people as pet. Now, I've been told that to refer to a woman as pet is misogynistic. I mean, I'm wondering, will I fall foul of Humza Yousaf's new hate crime if I walk north of the border? The bizarre thing as well is that it actually protects men dressed as women who make threats to actual biological women, right? You couldn't make that up. It is protecting violent men who are making threats to women who want to protect their own spaces and argue in all of those areas. We really are in clown territory, and Scotland is very much leading the charge. Honestly, viewers would be mistaken for thinking that Scotland had no issues to be getting on with, that it must be this Valhalla, but actually it has significant drug issues, it has healthcare issues, education issues. The list goes on and on, but it's easier for someone like Humza Yousaf to paint himself as the guardian of whackery and wokery than it actually is of political delivery and of political service. And I dread to think actually what the actual sum is that's been extracted from the public purse in pursuit of all of this, because let's not forget, it's not just advertising campaigns, it's the volume, as you rightly said, of vexatious reporting that needs to be investigated by the police. And we record in this country the Orwellian non-crime hate incident. Now, I doubt I'm alone in believing that actually it's a damn disgrace that the police are involving themselves in anything that isn't an actual crime. This is criminalizing speech that isn't inciting violence, that isn't any form of terrorist activity or whatever else. We're really entering into dark territory throughout Europe. And unless we pull back soon, I fear that there's going to be a lot of people, innocent people, dragged into this. J.K. Rowling is rich enough and big enough to defend herself. It's going to be the average Joe and Josephine that gets dragged in to this quagmire of ridiculous censoriousness.
Well, J.K. Rowling's not backing down of her criticism of Scotland's First Minister. He's revealed that transgender women will be protected under the new misogyny laws. Now, the Harry Potter author has called him out. She said, once again, Humza Yousaf makes his absolute contempt for women and their rights clear. Women were excluded from his nonsensical hate crime law. Now he introduces a misogyny law designed to also protect men. Darren, she hits the nail on the head again, doesn't she?
Yeah, she absolutely does. Yeah, it is perverse, frankly, that actually we should be prioritising police resources on defending the rights of those who, and I'm sure actually you've witnessed it yourself on social media. It doesn't take much trawling through to see actually the most awful, vile abuse from people who, there are political candidates in Scotland that have been stood down from political parties, trans people that is, who have said the most horrible things online about J.K. Rowling and others and been suspended for it. I worry that the culture that's being perpetuated here is one that says that actually women's rights come second now, that actually the pursuit of so-called equality is leading to a hierarchy of victimhood in which trans is the new creme de la creme, the pièce de résistance that we all have to actually watch out for. When actually, I put it to you that when we have the likes of when the self-identification laws went through in Scotland originally, we had a man called Adam Graham, who went by the name of Isla Bryson, who was in prison. Now, he went into a female prison, saying that his name was now Isla. He was a double rapist, Gabriella. This is the perverse incentive. We are enabling some of society's most awful people through this legislation in the name of so-called progress and so-called kindness. I don't think there's anything kind about rolling back women's rights and protections.
Look, finally, before I let you go, Darren, we just have to say what is going on with Scotland, because after the government introduced the new controversial hate crime laws, it's now been revealed that Scottish primary schools are appointing children as LGBT champions and are encouraging discussions with students as young as 4 about their sexual orientation or gender identity, and that's according to documents obtained by The Telegraph. Schools are establishing LGBT clubs and gender and sexual orientation alliance groups as part of their participation in a program administered by the charity LGBT Youth Scotland. Darren, as I said earlier, I'm all for inclusivity. I want the best education, the best equal rights for everyone on this planet. But is it really appropriate for children to be LGBT champions?
Absolutely not. No, it's not appropriate to even be discussing themes of sex and sexuality to children of that age, right? I mean, is it not enough to let kids actually learn the alphabet before you actually expose them to the LGBT alphabet soup, whatever it is now? You know, I go back to that fundamental point that the UK, that CAS review actually found that there are serious safeguarding failures presented within children in the United Kingdom. And it's not just in the United Kingdom. We've already highlighted that it's happening elsewhere throughout Europe too. This is being pushed by charities receiving really large sums of taxpayer cash. 1 million quid went to that LGBT Youth Scotland that you mentioned. And they're urging children to be forced into gender-neutral bathrooms. And now schools are being urged to ask kids as young as 4 if they're gay, lesbian or trans. I mean, I want kids to be able to learn maths, English and science, never mind this alphabet soup nonsense. It's Scotland that has examples of children being punished for stating biological truth and fact and abused by teachers for failing to actually accept the gender cult. I just think we've got to make no mistake about this. This is indoctrinating small children with sexualized ideologies. It's deeply unethical. And actually, I go back to that point, keep saying it, but it's so important. Safeguarding principles have to be sacrosanct. Primary school children must be allowed to actually live in the innocence of childhood. The CAS review, independent in nature, was all too clear about the damaging long-term impact that it can have for children and their long-term development. That's some of society's most vulnerable children, to actually get them down these pathways. Just let children be children, for the love of God, Gabriella.
Yeah, you'd think it would be quite simple, but apparently not. Darren Grimes, thank you so much for being so generous with your time. It's been brilliant to have you on Power Hour. I'll speak to you soon.
Quite a lengthy speech. He said he'd hoped to continue, bizarrely, he'd hoped to continue working with the Greens as a minority government, but he underestimated the level of hurt and upset that he'd caused by terminating their coalition agreement. He talked about repairing relationships across the political divide, about how he was not able to do that. A leadership contest will begin. He will remain in office until that leadership contest is ended. He did as we knew he would. He had to talk about honour and principle, but he also talked about how people who look like me went in office, and talked about how he said far too often hatred continues, toxic culture wars, and how the most marginalised bear the brunt, and we must resist populism, he said. But he also said, he doesn't bear any ill will, no grudges, he says, against anyone. He talked about the mental and physical toll that the job and all this what's been going on has taken on him. Got pretty emotional, as you probably heard and saw there.
Absolutely astonishing. I mean, he'd said that the Greens were worth their weight in gold, and he was fully committed to the Butte House Agreement. And then a couple of days later, he showed them the door in the most dramatic way. I mean, he just summoned them to a meeting early on Thursday morning and just told them that they were out. So, I mean, he must surely have realised that they would not take this well, they would not take this kindly. If he didn't realise it, surely some of the people around him would have, because he has a large number of special advisors and some very skilled political anoraks in Butte House. So I can't account for that. So he is, yes, indeed, very emotional. He's on his way. He's on his way now. But what he leaves behind is a party in utter chaos, because what he said, he will stay there until there's another leader elected.
Rare to hear of. I suppose when you're on the way out the door, you can take ownership of the situation in a way that you can't do when you're trying to cling on to power. But a full and frank acknowledgement of his own misjudgment there in the cessation of the Butte House Agreement with the Greens that was essentially propping up the SNP's majority in Holyrood. And as he said himself, he completely miscalculated on what the reaction of the Greens would be. So refreshing honesty, albeit that it comes very much as he is on the way out. 28 days then, I think, give or take, to find a new First Minister. And I don't know, we've done a phone-in on it already, so I don't know whether we now respond to this knowing that he was going, if it would be in any way more informative or illuminating than doing it when we were pretty sure he was going. I'll take Scot's call from Clydebank, actually, and then probably we'll reset and do something new after the next break. You were listening to that, Scot. What did you make of it?
To be honest, it's disappointed that it had to happen. I think it was a bit of political naivety on his part. With and he was open there and admitted that himself. I think, unfortunately, we're in a situation that we've seen all too often where...
Wow, that's very interesting one. But then I felt like this resignation have so much done much harm, you understand, to the party, because if you listen to some of the reactions from opposition, from party leaders, and even the people of Scotland, you realize that this has actually bring chaos, you understand, within the polity, in the process of people will start lobbying in order to get, you understand, another leader elected. And then that's why you see even within the party there's a lot of division. If you have listened to some of the things, some of the happening concerning his very resignation. But then anyway, you have listened to the people, and of course I'll be updating you of some of these things, you understand, that will be happening at the course of trying to elect, you understand, another leader in the Scottish National Party. But then I feel that this very resignation could affect their chances in the next election, because even within the party there's chaos in it, and then that gives, you understand, room for the opposition, you understand, to come up with good policy, and then if care is not taken, they could end up unseat this very party. But then your thought and opinion are all welcome at the comment section, and then may God bless you as you do so. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share, and subscribe. If you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section, and I'm going to check it out. So you remain blessed, and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.